Thank you for coming here today. I appreciate you coming to listen to me talk. First off, I need a couple of volunteers. Well, Celeste. First off, do you know how to tie a shoe?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would like you to tie this shoe with the oven mitts.
You got it. It's going to be hard.
And you can let me know whenever you're done.
Done. Can't do it. Sorry. Just can't get the bunny.
So this symbolizes what happens in an autistic brain when they're trying to do something that they understand how to do, but they can't necessarily, the messages aren't getting delivered to their hands. It's like they have oven mitts on their neurons. Thank you. Alright, Celeste, do you know how to read?
Yes, I do.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty confident with that answer. Pretty confident I'm a good reader.
Okay, put these on?
Yes.
Okay. Alright. Can you read these letters and numbers for me?
Oh, you're over here. Okay. No, I cannot read it. I see the color. I can tell you what color I think it is.
Okay.
I think it's orange.
Yes.
Okay. But I can't read what it is.
Okay, well this is what it's like for a person with autism when the lights are too bright. Like when you're at the grocery store and they
Just
can't,
ABC one.
they get overwhelmed. Thank you, Celeste. All right. That demonstrating that, I need to let you know that 1 in 68 children has autism, which means 1% of the world's population. And through defining the traits of autism, explaining what a behavior therapist does, and then pointing towards Jesus' miracles and attitudes, I will show how behavior therapy demonstrates the love of God. As the mother of 2 children with autism, I've been studying this for 15 years. I have 1 high-functioning and 1 low-functioning child, and I'm hoping that this will help you respond with empathy and compassion. So moving on to what is autism. According to Dover and Lacoder in the London-based Archives of Disease in Childhood and the DSM-5 put out by the American Psychological Association, the term autism spectrum disorder is used to describe the group of pervasive developmental disorders characterized by abnormalities in reciprocal social interactions and patterns of communication by a restricted repertoire of interests and activities. I don't speak this language, I don't know about the rest of you, so I'm going to try and define this for you. The first is social interactions. Social interactions and communication. This is where we get our high functioning versus low functioning. Most of the time when people say that they have met a child with autism, it's usually someone more like my younger son who has high functioning autism because he can participate in things like organized sports, he can go to church, he can be in a mainstream classroom. Whereas my low functioning child, because he can't communicate, you won't see him in any of those activities because he can't. It's not because he doesn't want to, he just can't. Now with your high functioning child, for example, Dustin, I always kind of compare him to Amelia Bedelia by Peggy Parrish and Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory. If they got together and had a child, it would be Dustin. That's my kid. So moving on, the other characteristic was repetitive behaviors. According to Lamb, Bodfish, and Piven in the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry, repetitive behaviors can be seen as encompassing preoccupation with restrictive patterns of interest. And I would like some help with this. Please tell me what this is.
Train.
Okay. And this one?
Train.
Okay. And this one?
Train.
Yeah, pero how the difference go?
Oh, this is true, but it's still repetitive in routine, right? Okay. Inflexible rituals, repetitive mannerisms, flapping, clapping, rocking back and forth, fingers in the face. These are all repetitive mannerisms. Fascination with part of an object, not whole. So, for hours, sitting there like this, as opposed to other children who are all over the place. Okay, so now that I've defined autism, I'll explain what a behavior therapist does. According to the National Behavior Analyst Certification Board, the role of the behavior therapist, or BCBA, is to study various behaviors of individuals and, drawing on research, develop a plan to help people with autism and other disorders have more appropriate ways of speaking and interacting with people. How do they know what to try? Well, it's a lot of school. To become a BCBA, first off, you have to have a degree in one of the social sciences like psychology, sociology, social work, something along those lines. From there, you have to apply to an Applied Behavior Analysis program, ABA program, where you can either get your master's or your doctorate. After that, you still have to take a test and get a certain score. So it's a lot and a lot of schooling. And in order for me to truly help you understand what an ABA therapist does, I do need one more volunteer. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate. Thank you, Natty.
Yes.
Okay, so Natty, if you saw me outside, how would you greet me?
Hi, or hug you.
That's right. Because would you have to think about that? No. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate how it is for a child with autism and what the ABA therapist does. What Natty did was actually, there's 4 steps to that. First thing she did was she recognized there was another person there. The second thing she did was approach the person. The third thing she did was give a greeting. And then the fourth thing she did was wait for an answer. So with an autistic child, how would this go? Notice that a person is standing there. Step 1. Okay. Sometimes it takes years for children with autism just to do that. Years and years. They might not even see you standing there. They're not being rude. They just don't see you. Step 2. Get close to the person. At the appropriate distance. Okay. That's half of it. So we're up to 50% now. Step 3. Give a greeting. Sup. No, appropriate greeting. Hello, Miss Natty. How are you? Oh, step 4. Wait for an answer. See how they broke it down into each little step? So, and then what they do with these types of skills is they go ahead and they graph them. So this is actually my son's greeting graph. This is actually what we were working on. And you can see here at the beginning, he was very successful, not successful. Very successful, not successful. And some of these in between is where, like, maybe he went up and he got close to the person, recognized they were there, but didn't say anything. So we give him a 50% score because he got half of it. Then halfway here in the middle, you can see where we even had like a little bit of rebellion because he's not a robot. So he decided at one point he was just not going to agree anyway. I'm not doing this anymore. I don't like you. Stop pushing me to do this. I'm not comfortable with this. So he stopped. We had to add another intervention. And this intervention this time was the BCBA started bringing something interesting or cool in their bag. So they would bring like candy or toy. Worked like a charm. He was very curious as to what she had in her bag. So now we're at the point where we are fading out the special interest. So she only brings something every other time. And now he's kind of, eventually it'll become second nature and he won't think about it. So that's kind of what they do. That's just one example. Of course, you know, after the greeting, there's always a whole nother set of steps that come up. You know, if they respond to us, how do we respond back? If they don't respond to us, do we chase them down the street banging on their window? No, we don't. I don't know from experience. Anyway, moving on. In transition, this brings me to the final point of my presentation, where I will explain how this career reflects God's values of empathy and compassion. In Mark 7:31-37, Jesus heals a deaf and mute human being. He takes mud, he spits it in it, and he puts it in the ears and on the mouth. And he says, "Be opened." The way that this relates to a BCBA in my mind is that these are children that would not speak to you, would not have words to talk to you, would not communicate to you without someone else stepping in. They will not. You can put them with typical kids all day, but until someone comes up to them and says, hey, there's a person standing over there, they will not notice. So they're opening these people's eyes, they're opening their ears, they're opening their mouth, they're giving them words. Okay? The other thing that I feel relates to Jesus is in Matthew 9:11-13. Jesus gets criticized for eating with sinners, tax collectors, and prostitutes. And he has one of the most profound answers to that. He says, the healthy don't need a doctor. So basically what I'm saying is we need behavior therapists because while you and I don't need to know those 4 steps, there are children that do. We need someone who can come in, like Jesus, and be the doctor to those kids. And this brings me to the conclusion. As you can see, autism is a complex issue, and there are no easy answers to how to solve the problems related to it. The rewards of being a BCBA or behavior therapist aren't tangible. Rather, it is in becoming more like Christ, in giving company to the lonely, words to the mute, and taking the oven mitts off the confused. Thank you.